holding abortion clinics are back to the way they were before. She and another Delta worker who also quit this week are particularly concerned about an April 1st procedure where a 38-year-old woman had to be driven to Baton Rouge General for an emergency hysterectomy after Dr. James Whitmore allegedly performed and perforated the woman's uterus, and also allegedly did not attend to her until some 3 hours after she had been lying in recovery, despite a nurse's repeated pleas.
Checked. Well, I had left the clinic, and when I came back, there was blood everywhere in the recovery room. And I asked what happened. And they said that Doc had finally come out and checked on her, and they had put her back up on the table, and he was going to resuction. Well, we had her under ultrasound, and under ultrasound, you could see that the uterus had been perforated. There was a hole. He let the patient lay there and bleed. He'd press on her uterus, and she spit out blood clots as big as my head. And I'd gasp at him, and he'd say, "Get out. You can't stay in here. Just get out."
Now, the two women say the doctors did not call 911 to get help for the woman because he was afraid that 9 News would hear that call. A private ambulance company came, according to the two women, and with the patient's blood pressure bottomed out, they said that if they had arrived, the ambulance had arrived 5 minutes later, she may not have made it. Now, the women say the hoses that we showed you are still reused in the clinic. They say that has only 5 hoses right now. They say the tables that the women lay on are still rested. They also say that they stalled health inspectors that day in February when they acted on the governor's emergency order to inspect the clinic.
Yes, whenever the health officials was there, we stalled them in the front waiting room so that we could hide some stuff. And the rusted instruments that were showed on the news was removed from the clinic.
What did you do with them?
I took them and disposed of them in the dumpster at the clinic.
Now, both the women say that when a worker asked to buy new equipment there enough to allow sterilization, the clinic owner, L.T. Brinkley, says that there just is no budget for that.
Julie, what about their comments about the new state law calling for the same sort of regulations that any other surgical clinic would have to own up to?
George, of course, that's held up in court right now as a group of clinics sue. They say that that law impedes a woman's right to an abortion. But the women I talked to today specifically told me that they believe that without that law, the clinic would continue to operate under conditions they describe as dirty and unsafe.
Okay, thank you, Julie. And this is a late-breaking story for us. We'll have much more detail on this on tonight's 10 o'clock news.
February still exists at the clinic. 9 News reporter Julie Baxter joins us now with the latest on the abortion clinic, Delta Women.
Well, Donna, today these two women you're about to meet went to the Attorney General's office and told them their story. The Attorney General's office is continuing an investigation into the clinic after the conditions we exposed there this spring sparked a new law allowing health inspections. One particular incident bothering these two women is an April 1st procedure where they say that Dr. James Whitmore perforated a woman's uterus and left her in that condition in the recovery room for more than 2 hours.
Well, I had left the clinic, and when I came back, there was blood everywhere in the recovery room. And I asked what happened.
She says workers there told her Dr. Whitmore had pressed on the woman's uterus to check for perforation.
She was screaming. I mean, literally screaming. He had somebody hold a gown over her mouth so other patients in the clinic would not hear her. Well, we had her under ultrasound, and under ultrasound, you could see that the uterus had been perforated. There was a hole. She let the patient lay there and bleed. He'd press on her uterus, and she'd spit out blood clots as big as my head.
Alleging all this happened under these same conditions we showed you in February, the women say the doctor didn't want to call 911 because he didn't want 9 News to hear the call. They say a private ambulance service rushed the woman to a local hospital.
We spoke with her mother the next day, and she had to have a complete hysterectomy done.
The former clinic administrator told us the day of this inspection that the governor demanded with an emergency order, clinic workers deliberately stalled health inspectors.
Whenever the health official was there, we stalled them in the front waiting room so that we could hide some stuff. And the rusted instruments that were showed on the news was removed from the clinic on that day.
What did you do with them? I took them and disposed of them in the dumpster at the clinic.
And the workers who left this week confirm previous workers' testimony that the owner says requests for new equipment just aren't in the budget.
He's only concerned about the money. His only concern is the money. All he's ever said to me was, I own this clinic and I never get any money out of it.
Now, those rusty instruments that you saw, the former administrator says she retrieved those from the dumpster and she delivered them today to the Attorney General's office as they continue their investigation. Meanwhile, the law that Governor Foster signed into effect allowing regular health inspections at abortion clinics is being held up right now from being enforced because of a suit from a group of clinics. The clinics say that this law impedes a woman's right to an abortion.
Julie, has there been any response, maybe over the last few months, from customers over at Delta?
Well, ex-workers are saying that, of course, on Wednesdays and Thursdays when Dr. Whitmore was in, when we first aired our stories, Delta was seeing about 30 to 40 operations a day. Now that has dropped down to about 15 between the 2 days. And on Saturdays when Dr. Eileen O'Neill comes in, it's about 20 to 25. That amount has dropped as well.
Thanks, Julie. Keep us posted on your investigation.